Hey, what's going on, family? This is Andy Henriquez, and like always, I want to welcome you to the Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream and conference call. Let me just tell you, I am super excited you took the time to go ahead and join me today for this message. I know that you probably had a busy week, lots of things going on, and I'm grateful that you're chiming out and really carving out this time that we can be able to spend this time together. Like always, we're about to begin to started, but I just want to remind those of you who are tuning in right now via the live stream that you can go ahead and use this opportunity right now to go ahead and share this link. And so go ahead and share this link on Facebook, on various social media platforms, on Twitter, and let people know that we're about to get started on the Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream. This is where you come each and every week when you believe in the words of Woody Allen, when he said that 80% of success is simply showing up. And so I am grateful that you decided to show up. I'm happy that you've allowed me to be a voice to really be able to talk into you and really just inspire you to continue to show up and live life full out. And so once again, I want you to use this moment for those of you who are tuning in right now via the live stream. Use this as an opportunity right now for you to go ahead and share the link, share it with people, let them know that we're about to get started on the Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream. So you can share the link on Facebook, you can share it on Twitter, you can share it on Instagram, you can share it on whatever platform you're on, and let people know that we're about to get started on the Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream. And as you all know, this is both a live stream message as well as a conference call. And so I am talking to many of you right now via a live stream platform. So you're actually watching me live in a video. And there are also literally sometimes a couple of hundred people that are listening to me via conference call. If you notice this little earpiece in my ear, it's for the people who are listening in to me, who are listening in right now via the conference call line. So we are going to get started in literally just a few more minutes. And so, of course, I want to welcome you and I thank you for being part of Thursday Night Show for Your Life Motivational Movement. I'm going to allow Lewis, who is introducing me right now on the conference call line, to go ahead and do the introduction. And then we're going to go ahead and get right started. But of course, like always, before we do that, just to remind you one more time, this is a perfect time right now for you to go ahead and just share this link, share this message, and let people know that we're about to get started on the Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream. I am grateful and thankful that you're here, and we're going to get started in just a few seconds. All right, well, excellent. Lewis is wrapping up the introduction for me right now on the people who are listening in via the conference call line. Once again, I want to thank all of you who are tuning in right now via the live stream, and we are about to go live. Lewis, what's going on, my man? Can you hear me? All right, excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Lewis. I forgot to put in the moderator code, my friend. So that is the reason why you could not hear me. But of course, I want to thank you for what you do each and every week on the Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream and conference call. And of course, like always, I just want to welcome everybody who's decided to tune in, whether you're tuning in right now via the live stream or if you're tuning in right now via the conference call line. So let me just, for those of you who are new and joining us for the first time, let me tell you how this is working right now. I'm doing two things right now simultaneously. This is a live stream broadcast, and so some of you are listening in and viewing this message right now live via live stream. And for those of you who are listening in via the conference call line, if you ever want to join the live stream in the future, all you have to do is go to showupforyourlife.com, look for the live stream banner, click the live stream banner, and you will be able to view this live stream message. And of course, there are many of you who are tuning in right now. Some of you are on your commute home from work. You've got your speakerphone on, you've got an earpiece in, and this is your opportunity to sort of unwind. Some of you are actually still at work, and some of you have just made it home, and you've got a lot of things to do, but you decided to just tune in to be a part of the Thursday night Show for Your Life motivational movement. And so, of course, I want to thank all of you, regardless of how you got here. I want to thank you for being here and being part of the movement. Some of you found out about this movement, the Thursday night motivational message that we have each and every week. Some of you found out because you were sitting in the audience where I was speaking someplace, or you stumbled across the video on YouTube, or you had a friend or a family member who said, hey, listen, I don't know what you're doing this evening, but I want you to tune in and be part of this Thursday night Show for Your Life motivational movement. And let me be the first one to tell you, welcome, welcome, welcome. So regardless of how you find out about this movement, regardless of how you find out about tonight's call and tonight's live stream, I just want to thank you for being a part of it. You know, this is where you come if you believe in the words of Woody Allen. Here's what he said. He said that 80% of success is simply showing up. And so I thank you, most importantly, for showing up, but not just showing up for me, not for showing up for the Show Up for Your Life movement, but for showing up for yourself. Because I personally believe that we all have to take some time, that we just really take some time to really just pour into ourselves, invest in ourselves, and be able to have that voice that resonates with us, so that as we go through our basic days, as we go back and we're tackling our careers, we're carrying out the roles in our business, that we have something that we can just sort of refer back to keep us inspired, keep us motivated, and to keep us pushing forward. And so once again, I thank you so much for being part of Thursday Night Show Up for Your Life Motivational Movement. And we are going to begin started literally in just a second. And let me just say this one more time before we get started. For those of you who are tuning in right now via the live stream, and also for those of you who are tuning in right now via the conference call line, this is your final opportunity. If you want to go ahead and either share the link or share the conference call line or message with somebody that you believe would really benefit by hearing tonight's message. Tonight's message, we're going to be talking about paying the price. And so if you know that there's some people out there that you know they're in the process of pursuing their goals and their dreams, you got a friend, you got a family member, somebody that you believe needs to hear a word tonight, I want to give you this very quick moment so you can go ahead and send them a quick text message or go ahead and make a quick post on social media to let them know that we are about to get started. Right now, we're about to get started. So hopefully you've got yourself a pen, a notepad, and I'm going to just share some thoughts and ideas with you that I hope that you're going to apply to your life to really be able to take yourself to an entirely different level. So here's what I want to talk to you about this evening. Tonight's message is called Pay the Price. And so here's one of the things that I know. Regardless of whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish in your life, whatever that thing may be, perhaps you've been thinking about starting a business, maybe you've been thinking about making a career change, maybe you're thinking about starting a family, maybe you want to get out of debt, maybe you have been thinking about once and once for all to actually losing the weight that you've been putting on throughout the years. And what I need you to understand is anything that is going to be worthwhile, any meaningful pursuit, any meaningful goal that you have is going to require you to pay a price. And so that's something that we all need to establish up front. And that's something that I really need you to buy into. And the reason why I want you to buy into this is because I think that it's all too often that there's a lot of people who are thinking about goals and dreams and aspirations and things that they want to do. And I think that there's a major disconnect. And the major disconnect is that they don't take the time to really think about what is it going to cost you. And trust me and believe me on this, that anything significant that you're looking to do in life is going to cost you something. It's going to cost you your time. It's going to cost you your resources. It's going to cost you oftentimes giving up maybe perhaps some things that you normally would want to do, that you would like to do. And now you're going to have to make some ultimate sacrifices so that you can actually make this gift, this goal, this dream, this thing that you want to become a reality. And so understand this, that you cannot bypass it. And it's going to require that you pay a price. And the people who have success in life are the ones who understand that success does not go on sale. Success is never really discounted, that you've got to pay for success. You got to pay for it upfront in full, and there are absolutely no discounts. And so I need you to understand right now, whatever it is that you're looking to pursue, I want you to be thinking about what that thing is. But what I also want you to be considering for a moment is, what is the price that you're willing to pay? Are you willing to give up some sleep for it? Are you willing to get uncomfortable and do something that perhaps you've never done before? Or are you willing to cut back on some things that you've enjoyed doing in the past so that you can be able to have more time allocated to doing this thing that you've been wanting to do? The reason why most people never write the book, the reason why most people never really get their business off the ground, the reason why most people never really quite get to that place that they want to in their profession, in their careers, or that they ever lose the weight that they want to lose forever, or get out of debt as the way they intend to, is why? Because of the fact that they haven't been willing to pay the price. And so they get started, and then they realize that it's going to cost them something. And then all of a sudden they come up with an excuse and a reason to not continue to push forward. And I think one of the best things that you could do and establish with yourself up front is that you can literally raise your hand up and literally say, wait a second, that when it comes to my goals, when it comes to my dreams, when it comes to the things that I'm looking to make happen, that you are in fact willing to pay the price. And I personally believe that when you're willing to pay the price, guess what happens? You show up differently. when you're willing to pay the price, your commitment level is at an entirely different level. When you're willing to pay the price, that is when you build the stamina to be able to actually accomplish your goals and your dreams. And so one of the things that I have the luxury of doing is being able to coach people and help them to accomplish some of their goals and their dreams. And one of the things that I have really cut back on is sometimes when I've had opportunities to speak to people who wanted to get coaching or assistance, and then it was time for them to make a decision as to whether or not it was time for them to move forward on the coaching. Sometimes people didn't have the resources so that they could take advantage of the coaching that I was offering. And in the past, I thought I would be doing them a service. I thought that I'd be able to help them out at times when I'd give people scholarships or, because they had a great story, I would tell them that they can go ahead and participate in one of my coaching programs for free, or I'd give them one of my take-home programs for free, or give them access to something for free. And let me just be honest with you. Here's something that I discovered, that there has not been one case yet where I decided to just give somebody coaching for free in which they actually did something significant with it. And so what I find is that oftentimes when it does not cost them something, when it does not actually require them to get uncomfortable, then oftentimes guess what happens? They aren't willing to show up. They aren't willing to fully apply themselves. And so I think back in one particular time, and I want to share this story with you because I got a phone call, and this is something that was from a while back, and this guy called me up, and I couldn't even believe what he was saying to me. But what happened is, some of you know, before I decided to become a full-time speaker, I used to invest very heavily in real estate. And so I was a real estate investor. As a matter of fact, my speaking career started off with me speaking in the area of real estate and me telling people and sharing with people a particular niche in real estate on how to invest in real estate. And at that time, I was speaking about real estate investing. I also had a real estate wholesaling course. In addition to that, I was doing coaching and mentoring. And many years back, there was a gentleman who actually approached me and who wanted to get some coaching from me. And he was specifically interested in one of my take-home coaching programs. It was basically a 4-disc audio set of me giving instructions and teaching them on a particular niche in real estate wholesaling. It was a binder, audiobook, and CDs and so forth to really be able to give somebody the fundamentals so that they can get involved and started in a real estate niche that I was involved in. And so I remember specifically that this young man gave me a call and he said, "Hey, listen, Andy, I would love to talk to you about getting your real estate coaching program. Is there an opportunity for us to be able to speak?" And so I set up a meeting and we got together and we were talking for a moment. And so he shared his story. He said, "Listen, man, I used to be a mortgage broker." And he said, when I was a mortgage broker, things were going very, very well, man. He said, "Andy, I was making 6 figures as a mortgage broker." And he says, "Andy, if you remember back in 2008, the real estate market crashed, man. And so I went from making 6 figures to literally having no more business." And he said that things got so bad that I found myself in a situation that I literally had went from making significant amount of money to now I literally lost my house. And I found myself in a situation where now I have gotten to a place in my life where sometimes I have to make a decision as to whether or not I'm going to eat or whether or not I'm going to put gas in my car. I have to make a decision sometimes as to whether or not I'm going to eat or whether or not I'm going to be able to pay rent at this little teeny apartment that I have. And he said, "Listen, man, I would love to be able to get your real estate course." And he said, "I don't know if there's any way that maybe you can give me your real estate course. And then once I start having success, then I'll find a way to go ahead and pay you back." And let me just tell you something. In the past, when somebody would share a story like that with me, I would tend to just go ahead, and say, you know what? I just want to be able to help you out here. Go ahead and take the course. And in the future, if you're ever to pay me back, go ahead and pay me back. But this particular time, it dawned on me that every single time that I had done that, none of those people actually applied any of the information I actually shared with him. So this time I'm talking to this man and I said, "Listen, man," I said, "you got a hell of a story." And I said, "Man, every part of me wants to give you this course." But I said, "Listen, if I give you this course, it would have not cost you anything. And because it didn't cost you anything, there's a strong likelihood that you may go through a couple of the CDs, but you won't really apply it. Or the second you hit some kind of a roadblock, you'll stop because it didn't necessarily cost you anything." So I said, listen, man, as much as I want to give this coaching program to you, I can't give it to you. But what I can do is I can work out some type of payment plan for you, but it's going to have to cost you something. And so he thought about it. He said, man, Andy, you don't understand, man. My situation is really, really dire right now. And he said, the most that I could afford right now is literally $50 a month. And he says, I know that's an absolute joke, but that's the most that I could afford right now. I said, well, you know what? I tell you what, I'll go ahead and let you go ahead and get this coaching program for $50 a month, but you got to come up with the first $50. He said, Andy, things are really tight for me. Even the first $50 is going to be a stretch. I said, well, you come up with the first $50, then we'll work out a program where you go ahead and pay the rest, $50 a month. The program is $500, so it's going to take you a long time to pay it off, but I'm trusting and believing that if you could at least come up with an initial down deposit, then we'll go ahead and move forward. And so he left, and I thought I wasn't going to hear from him again. And about 2 weeks later, he called me up. He said, Andy, man, I'm telling you, things are tight, but I know that I need this program, and so I just want to meet up with you so I can get you this $50. And then I want to be able to get this course. So sure enough, I told him where I was at. He met me. He gave me the $50. I made sure I gave him the course. And lo and behold, this guy actually followed through, and month after month, he was actually giving me the $50 that it cost for the program. But the beautiful thing is, he gave me a call, and this would be years later, and he gave me a call. He said, Andy, I need to talk to you, man. I said, what's going on? He said, I don't know if you remember this, but he said, man, it was about 4 years ago. I called you up about your real estate program. And you said to me that as much as you wanted to give me the program, that you couldn't give it to me, that you needed me to actually pay the cost. Because you knew if I paid a cost that I was going to show up differently. You knew if I paid a cost that I would actually apply the information. And in the past, you had given the information to people and they did nothing with it. He said, man, I don't know how I can thank you enough, man, but I just want to let you know, here we are, it's 4 years later. And he said that everything that you taught me in that program, I've applied it. He said, this year, I made $475,000. He said, Andy, I need you to understand, I made close to $500,000 as a result of everything that you taught me in that particular program. And he said, man, the reason why I'm calling you is to give you a special thank you. He says, on top of the special thank you, I also got a nice check here for you as a token of my appreciation. And of course, I was like, I would gladly take the check. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But he says that the thing that I need you to understand, Andy, he said, the thing that I'm most grateful for is that you didn't give me the course. He said, I'm telling you, even though it was only $50 that I had to come up with at that particular time, he says, I don't think you understand what my situation was. He said, at that particular time, it was a stretch for me to come up with that $50. But he said, because of the fact that I had to get uncomfortable, because of the fact that it was a stretch, when I finally got my hands on that program, he said, Andy, the first day I got that program, he said, I stayed up all night going through the audio program. And then I spent the whole week trying to implement it. And every single day, I made sure I was implementing something because you showed me the importance of making sure that it actually cost me something. And so I share that with you because I need you to understand this, that right now there's something that you want to do. I don't know what that thing is for you. There's some kind of dream, there's a vision, there's a goal that you have, something that you're aspiring to make happen. And what I'm trying to make you understand is it's great to have a dream. It's great to have goals. It's great to have aspirations. But understand this, that none of those dreams and none of those goals, none of those aspirations will become a reality until you make the decision right now up front that you're willing to pay the price, that you're willing to pay the cost. And what I found is that the ultimate differentiation between those that make it and those who don't is that those who make it are willing to pay the price, and they are not looking for any shortcuts. They're not looking for any discounts. They understand that there's a cost that's involved. It's going to require that they give up their resources. It's going to require that they give up their time. It's going to require that they get a little bit uncomfortable and do some things that maybe perhaps they haven't done before, but that there is going to be a cost involved. And because of the fact that they've established up front that there's going to be a cost, and that they're willing to pay the cost, that is what ultimately allows them to accomplish the goals and the dreams and the things that they want to make happen. And so what I'm trying to say to you is this: if you want to separate yourself from the people around you, if you want to go from just having a bunch of dreams and visions and every single year just having a bunch of great conversation about the things that you want to make happen, if you want to go from that place of just having good conversation to actually making it happen, then what I need you to establish up front is that there's going to be a cost involved. And what I need you to do is not only establish the fact that there's going to be a cost involved, but I need you to start taking massive action and be willing to actually pay the price, pay the cost. Listen, my wife and I, a couple years back, we do an annual event at the beginning of the year. It's called the Resolutions Retreat. And unfortunately, this year we didn't have the retreat because of our baby Ava. And so unfortunately, this year we couldn't put on the event, but this has been an annual event for us. And there's one particular year that we put on this event, and my wife and I, we opened up registration. And while we opened up registration, we noticed that somebody had actually registered for our event that was all the way in Nigeria. Now, when me and my wife saw that someone registered for the event all the way in Nigeria, the first thing that came to mind for us is we were thinking, well, you know, who do we know in Nigeria? And maybe this is some kind of fraudulent registration. And so we just thought for sure that this was some kind of bogus, illegitimate type of registration for the event. And then shortly thereafter, we got an email from that person who registered in Nigeria that started asking us some questions about, you know, is there any way that we can arrange transportation from the airport to our event? And so after getting that email and just thinking about the fact that this person's coming all the way from Nigeria, we tried to find the person on Facebook. We couldn't find them on Facebook. We thought for sure that this was some kind of fraudulent activity. And so we just disregarded. As a matter of fact, when we got those emails, we didn't even respond. Well, if you fast forward, we end up having the event. And then we end up getting a tap during the event. We get a tap on our shoulder and somebody says, hey, Andy, Cassandra, we just want to let you know, remember that person who registered for the event that said that they were coming from Nigeria? That we didn't think that the person was a real registrant? Well, just to let you know, they just got here. And I just spoke to them and they traveled over 23 hours to get to this event. My wife and I, first of all, we felt horrible because this person registered for our event and we thought that it was a fraudulent registration. They sent us an email. We didn't even respond. So we were feeling horrible about that. So we went up to this lady and we said, oh my goodness, first of all, we just want to tell you we're so sorry that we didn't reply to your emails. We had no idea that someone would register and come to our event all the way from Nigeria. We said, well, first of all, how did you find out about it? She said, I was on YouTube and I saw a video with you and your wife on YouTube. And after sitting there and just watching some of the information that you guys shared, I knew that I wanted to be able to learn from you guys. And so I heard that you guys were having an event. So I decided that I was going to do whatever it was going to take to be able to make it here at the event. And so as my wife and I were sort of processing this, we were sort of thinking about this. Throughout the year, when we're doing the event, my wife and I interact and we work with so many people throughout the year as coaches. And all of the people on an annual basis are always asking us, when is the event? And we tell them the event is going to be at the beginning of the year. And all of these individuals say, listen, we want to be there at the event. We're going to come to the event. This is going to be the year I'm going to write my book. This is going to be the year that I'm going to start my coaching. This is going to be the year that I'm going to become a speaker. And then what happens is when it's time for them to actually register for the event, they all come up with excuses. And then here's this person who's in Nigeria, who doesn't know myself or my wife personally, who happens to just be on YouTube, stumbles across a video, and then makes a decision that she is going to book multiple flights to make it from Nigeria to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And literally, she spent over $1,000 on her flight. She spent over 23 hours traveling. She then had to book a hotel room. And then after getting there and spending the weekend with us, she decided to come in and join our coaching program at the highest level possible. And so I say to you, what is the difference between her and all the other people that we come across that year after year that are just talking about the things that they want to do, the things that they want to do, and yet and still they never take any kind of action? The major distinction between them and the woman that I'm talking about is a wonderful woman by the name of Dolapo. who have many times has tuned in and joined this Thursday night show for your life motivational movement. And when she has called in, oftentimes it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock her time, even though she has to wake up and go to work the following morning. And what I say to you is, what is the difference between someone like a Delapo and the other people who are out there who just constantly keep making excuses? The difference is she made a decision that she wants to attain a goal, that she wants to make something happen. And the ultimate thing is she's willing to pay the price. And so what I need you to understand this, conversation is cheap. You can keep talking all day long about all the things that you want to make happen. You can keep talking all day long about writing the book. You can keep talking all day long about becoming a speaker. You keep talking all day long about going and getting another degree. You can keep talking about losing weight. You keep talking about getting out of debt. But what I need you to understand is until you make a decision to pay the price, then it means absolutely nothing. And so all I'm trying to get you to understand is that it's great to have big dreams. It's great to have big goals. I'm all for that. But what I need you to understand is the only thing that's going to separate you from others who are just daydreamers, the only thing that's going to separate you from others who just keep having great conversation, the only thing that's going to separate you from other people that just keep making excuses is your willingness to get uncomfortable and pay that price, whatever that may be. For some of you, the price is monetary. There's something that you want to take part in that it's going to cost you financially. And so you're afraid to make that financial commitment. What I'm saying to you is if you want to make that thing happen, then you're going to have to make that financial commitment. You're going to have to pay the price. Some of you, the cost that you're going to have to pay is you're going to have to give up your time. There's something that you want to make happen. You've been thinking about writing the book. Well, guess what? You got to sit down and actually take the time to write the book. You've been thinking about starting the business. You got to sit down and take the time to actually strategize. Some of you, it's going to be required. The price that you got to pay is you're going to have to get uncomfortable. You're going to have to make some phone calls that maybe perhaps that you weren't willing to make. You're going to have to ask some people for help. Maybe you're not very good at asking people for help. Maybe it's going to require that you spend a whole lot of time reading and going to seminars and workshops and doing some things. But what I need you to understand is this, that if there's anything that is meaningful, that is worthwhile doing, it is going to cost you something. To believe that you can have the dream, to believe that you can have the goal without paying a cost is what I call absolutely being delusional. And so what I need you to do right now up front is to first think about what is this thing that you want to do in your life? What is this goal? What is this dream? What is this vision? And then I want you to be very honest and I want you to look within and I want you to ask yourself the question, are you willing to pay the cost? And that is going to be the fundamental question that you need to answer to determine whether or not this dream, this goal, this vision that you have is going to be attainable. It comes to one single question, and that question is, are you willing to pay the cost? And so that's what my question is for you right now. Whatever that dream, whatever that goal, whatever that thing is that you have in your mind right now, will you pay the cost? Because that is where the cream rises to the top. Listen, I had a mentor of mine that it was a group of us that were studying underneath him. And we were all involved in a direct sales company and a direct sales business with him. And he used to do these bonus leadership sessions. But he did the weirdest and most bizarre thing. Every single time he was going to do one of these leadership sessions, he would have the leadership sessions, listen to me carefully, we would have the entire day where we went through an entire day at a conference, and we spent the entire day literally from 8 o'clock in the morning all the way until about 8 o'clock in the evening at a conference. And then he would tell us, listen, I'm going to be doing a leadership session. And we said, well, what time is the leadership session? He says, I'm going to be doing the leadership session tonight at my suite, and the session is going to start at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, I need you to keep this in mind. We are at a 3-day conference. We've just been in the sessions for the conference from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock p.m. We've put in a full day in the conference. We're exhausted. And now my mentor used to tell us, listen, I'm going to do a bonus leadership session. And the bonus leadership session is not going to start at 8:30. It's not going to start at 9 o'clock where you can just come on through. He says, no, no, no. I'm going to do these bonus leadership sessions, and we're going to start at 2 o'clock in the morning, knowing that many of you need to be back in the regular session at 8 o'clock in the morning. So understand this, that for many of you, if you decide to come to my session, then chances are you're not going to get any sleep. So I just want to let you know that up front. But I just need to know which of you are showing up. And every time he would open up those bonus sessions, he would open them up to about 200 people. But guess every time that he had those sessions, how many people showed up? Anywhere between 20 to 30 people. And do you know that every single time the 20 to 30 people who showed up in those sessions were always the top producers on his team? They were always the top producers in his particular organization. And so you say, well, what was the defining factor? What is it that differentiated those who showed up to those sessions and the rest of the people who didn't bother showing up? The thing is that the people who are willing to show up in that session, they understood that in order to have access to our mentor, in order to have access to these leadership strategy sessions that he was going to have, that there was going to be a cost involved. The cost was that you were going to have to jeopardize and basically give up all of your sleep. That means that you were at this 3-day weekend event and that you just had to make it very clear in your mind that you were probably going to average 1 to 2 hours sleep per night. And he knew, my mentor knew, that there was just going to be a very, very small percentage of people who'd be willing to pay that price. But what he also knew is that the people who are willing to pay the price, those were going to be the people that he wanted to work with. Those were going to be the people that he knew that had the ability to become leaders. Those were going to be the people that he knew that had the ability to actually grow a large organization within his organization. And so what I need you to understand is this. When you want to draw the line in the sand, when you want to find out what you're really made of, what you need to do is move beyond the conversation, move beyond just talking about the things that you want to do, and you need to be really upfront with yourself and just ask yourself the question, are you willing to pay the price? And if you're willing to pay the price, I'm inviting you right now to start doing everything that's necessary to start paying the price. And so that means for some of you, right after listening to this message, you've been thinking about moving forward on some type of coaching or something you've been wanting to do, and you've been reluctant to do it. And I'm not just talking about coaching with me. I'm talking about with anybody. And I'm talking about, you've been wanting to do this thing, but you've been hesitant. And what I'm saying to you is stop playing games and pay the price. Some of you, you know that there's something you've been wanting to do. You've been wanting to go back to school. You've been wanting to lose the weight. You've been wanting to write the book. You've been wanting to start the business. And what I'm saying to you is stop playing games and pay the price. Part of paying the price may mean giving up some sleep. Part of paying the price may mean making sure that you're putting working out into your schedule. Part of paying the price may mean that you decide to cut up some credit cards. Part of paying the price may mean that you have to start changing your associations and stop spending time with people and literally find some time for yourself so that you can actually accomplish your goals and your dreams. And so what I need you to understand is this. Regardless of whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish in life, don't let anybody fool you that there's going to be a cost involved. And so the only question that I have for you is, are you willing to pay the price? And if you can be honest with yourself and you're willing to pay the price, then what I'm saying to you is stop delaying your dream, stop delaying your goals, and do everything that is necessary starting from right now to make this thing happen. In other words, I want you to pay the price. Pay the price. Pay the price. Listen, this has been Andy Henriquez, and every single time I share these messages with you, I just want you to just focus in on one thought. And the thought that I want you to focus on after listening to this message is, I just want you to be thinking about your goals and your dreams and the things that you want to make happen. And I want you to be honest with yourself. Listen, you can lie to other people. You can put up a good game. You can put up a good front, but you can't lie to yourself. And I want you to be honest and ask yourself, have you been paying the price? Have you been making the commitment? Have you been making the sacrifice? Have you been using your resources? Have you been giving up your time to make the things that you really want to make happen become a reality. And if you know in your heart that you haven't been doing it, I invite you to start that process right now. And I believe that if you begin to pay the price, your life will begin to look differently. You'll begin to accomplish goals that you haven't accomplished before. You'll begin to make the level of impact that you want. But most importantly, you'll begin to feel much better about yourself because you'll know that you're living full out. And like always, this wouldn't be Andy Henriquez if I didn't end by telling you this. Show up for your lives, ladies and gentlemen, because if you don't show up for your goals and your dreams, if you don't show up and pay the price for the things that you're looking to accomplish in your life, understand this, that nobody else will. Excellent. Well, listen, before we go ahead and open up the lines, there's a couple things that I want to do very quickly. For those of you, if you haven't already done so, I would love to extend an invitation for you to go ahead and grab a copy of my book. The title of my book is called Show Up for Your Life, 7 Principles to Living an Extraordinary Life. You can get a copy of my book at Amazon.com. You can also get a copy at BarnesandNobles.com. You can also get a copy at ShowUpForYourLifeBook.com. Listen, I don't care where you go to get a copy. It's also available on Kindle. I just want you to get a copy of the book. In there, I share 7 very powerful principles that I believe that if you apply these principles to your life, it's going to take you from living just an ordinary life to living an extraordinary life. If you've just been simply going through the motions and you haven't been living a life of purpose, I believe this book is going to help you to be able to find your purpose and live a life of meaning and do that thing that you know that you've been called to do. And so just make sure that you get your hands on a copy of that book. Also, I also extend an invitation for you to go ahead and join our online community. You can join our Show Up for Your Life group. Let me just tell you how you get there. You can either type in a separate web browser. You can type in showupgroup.com, showupgroup.com. Or if you're in Facebook, you can just type in showupforyourlife.com, showupforyourlife.com. When you get there, you'll see a group. We've got about 984 members in the group. Just go ahead and send us an invitation to join the group, and we would gladly go ahead and accept you into the group. We'd be more than happy to build a relationship with you. I want to give a shout out to Ella, who just joined the group, and Siraj, who also joined the group. Welcome to the group. I want to give you guys a special welcome. Once again, for those of you, if you haven't already done so, you go to Facebook, type in Show Up for Your Life, look for the private Facebook group, send us an invitation, or you can go to showupgroup.com. Last but not least, I want to remind those of you, it is still open enrollment for my Master Storyteller Academy. Some of you are listening in right now, and you know that you have a message. You have been wanting to be able to strengthen your message. You are either an entrepreneur, a speaker, or a coach, and you either have aspirations to speak to people, or you are speaking to people, and you want to strengthen your message, and you want to be able to have more impact. You want to be able to have more influence. You want to be able to attract people to your business, to your products and your services. And one of the best ways that you can do that is really by allowing people to connect with you through your story. And so I invite you to become a part of my Master Storyteller Academy. You can learn more about the Master Storyteller Academy by going to masterstorytelleracademy.com. Once again, that is masterstorytelleracademy.com. Now, with that being said, what I am going to do is unmute my telephone line for those of you who are listening in via the live stream. And for those of you who are on the conference call line, this is your opportunity. If you have a quick question or comment.
All participants are muted and they can unmute themselves.
Excellent. If you got a quick question or comment from tonight's message, press *6 to unmute your line. Love to hear from you before we go ahead and wrap up this evening's message. So quick questions or comments, press *6 to unmute your lines. Once again, you can join the group at showupgroup.com, showupgroup.com, or if you're already in Facebook, you can type in Show Up for Your Life. And once you go there, you can go ahead and send an invitation to join the group. So once again, you can ask a quick question or comment, press *6 to unmute your line, *6 to unmute your line. Excellent. Let me refresh this. Okay, so Lewis, I believe Lewis has the line unmuted. So if you've got a quick question, comment, or feedback, press *6 to unmute your line.
Hey, Andy, Stevie Wood.
Hey, Stevie, what's up, my man?
Hey, Hey, not much, man. Hey, once again, hey, and definitely enjoyed this message. And I got like a little quick story. Definitely, my mom bought my nephew a car, for his graduation, and just like you said, since he didn't pay pay a price for it, he abused that car.
Wow.
And it got him all through college, but he abused the car. And anyway, make a long story short, he ended up coming back from college without the car.
Wow.
But then, okay, he gets his first job, and he paid $5,000 for a Mustang. He took better care of that car. I mean, but like you said, he was willing to pay the price. When he paid the price, he kept up with it. But the story I was going to tell you was one of my ex-coworkers. He was a professional bodybuilder, and he used to offer this 6-week boot camp. And he would say the same thing. He said, in order to get the results of these, the 50 people in his before and after, you have to be willing to be committed and pay the price for what it's going to take. Like you said, it's going to be something monetary, and it's going to be something physical. And he would, he'd have his boot camp classes started like, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. People be like, man, that's too early. I can't get there. And he said those are the people he said he knew that they probably wouldn't be successful because they weren't committed to do it.
Absolutely.
And he said that he had one woman or one guy come in and say, he told him he wanted him to sign up for 6 weeks or something like that. And so he was like, man, I just want to just get in shape, get toned up. I don't want to look like you. And he said, man, listen, dude, he said, you're not going to look like this anyway. He said, man, I've been doing this for the last, 22 years. He said, you're not going to look like this for 6 weeks. I guarantee you that. Wow. He said, but if you are committed, I can guarantee you one thing, you will be better off than you were. And just like you said, man, you got to be willing to pay the price to get what you want out of life. And like you said, and one of your other messages, the more you pay, the more you pay attention.
Absolutely. Man, Stevie, I was listening to you say that, man, and it's so true, man. That's why, even when parents really have the means and they could just buy their kids a car, one of the best things that you could do is find a way to make sure that they actually contribute to it. Because trust me, they treat it so much differently when it actually costs them something. So, just hearing that story, trust me, there's so many parents that would share that story where they sort of gave their kid something and then they observed when their kid eventually bought it for themselves, how much differently they actually treated it. And the reason why is because it actually cost them something. I can tell you this too, Stevie. As you know, I have rental properties, and I have one particular tenant. About 2 years ago, she had an agency that put up her security deposit. So not only was she getting assistance for her rent every month because she was on housing, which was a blessing for her. But she managed to get an agency that put up a $1,600 deposit for her in its entirety. And the thing was, the agency, as you know, when a tenant moves out, we're responsible for giving back the security deposit minus anything. Well, because of the fact that the security deposit was not something she put up, she left the house a complete mess, and she completely did not care. And the reason why is because the security deposit money was not her money. And let me tell you, when my tenants have put up their security deposit, when it's time for them to leave, they're asking all kind of questions and pointing things out and doing anything to make sure that they could get their security deposit back. But it was just a clear example of the fact that it didn't cost her anything, so she really didn't care. You follow what I'm saying? And so that's why it's always so important, man, that people just have to learn to pay a price. We just, trust me, it's like you said, man, when it costs you something, trust me, you show up entirely different. And so that's why I've learned now, oftentimes, that really when you just try to give people things, you're not always helping them out. And I have rarely ever just given someone access to coaching or whatever, and they actually followed through and did the thing. I remember one particular time I was doing a one-day seminar, and everybody at the seminar paid $1,000 minimum to be there. But there was somebody that was, sort of on some hard times that I told them, hey, listen, you could be my guest to the seminar. And so, Stevie, do you know that not only did everyone pay $1,000, this person got to show up to the seminar for free, but they actually showed up an hour and a half late. Now, why do you think they showed up an hour and a half late? Because it didn't cost them anything. And so it was just one of those things. I'll get there when I get there. But you better believe all the people who paid at least $1,000 to be there, every single one of those people were there. They were there on time, and they played full out. And so it's just the nature of the beast, man, that when people don't pay the price, they just don't show up the way that they should, man. So I appreciate you bringing that up. I also wanted to give a shout out to Melvina Davis, who just joined the Show Up for Your Life group. And Melvina said, thank you. Melvina, you are more than welcome. So just wanted to give that shout out. There's somebody else that was trying to speak up at the same time as Stevie. You can feel free to speak up. Press *6 to unmute your line. I'll take one or two more quick questions or comments before we go ahead and end the session. So once again, press *6 to unmute your line. Well, let me give a couple more shout outs to a couple people, other people who joined the group. Hold on a second here. All right. Yeah, the people on the live stream, I do apologize. I know you guys can't chime in because you're listening via the live stream, but I just want to give a shout out to a couple other people. A shout out to Yvette, a shout out to Chris, and also a shout out to Coretta. Welcome to the group. We thank you so much for being part of the group. So before we go ahead and end the call, if you got a quick question or comment, press *6 to unmute your line. I'd love to hear your question, comments, or feedback before we end the call.
You know, Andy, this is Louis chiming in here. It's just amazing the call and what you talked about paying the price. People always ask who taught you how to speak, who's your mentor, what's the relationship that you have, what's the relationship that I have with you. And I think about over 5 years ago when I took that initial step in buying products and wanted to hire you on as being my coach, and I look at where we are today, but I also know that not only the cost I had to pay, but also the effort and energy that was put forth. When I go out and I do vendor events, when I tell people about the Show Up for Your Life books, and they ask about who's Andy, and I explain to them like, okay. They see that there was some cost that was paid, but there was also a relationship that was built. So I can also say, when you pay the cost, you will also develop a relationship with that person, because they will look at you differently, because you're showing that you're serious. It's mindset involved. A lot of people see that there's a cost involved. They're like, oh, I want to pay that. Is it free? Is it free? Information costs, but it pays for itself.
Absolutely.
So I think this call, more than anything, should really put things in perspective for people. If they want to take their lives to the next level, of course, it's going to be a cost you're going to have to pay. But you got to understand that as you pay this cost, you will go to the next level, and you will develop some incredible relationships along the way.
Absolutely.
So thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate you. I turn the call back over to you.
Absolutely, Louis. You know, it's funny. I too today was on the phone with one of my mentors today, which is Les Brown. So he gave me a call, and we were just catching up on a couple of items, and I just sort of reflected. I was like, man, I'm just looking back at that time when I was willing to sort of pay the costs and become part of one of his platinum speakers. And I just think about the amount of fruit that's come for me sort of paying that cost, you know what I mean? And I was telling him today how grateful that I was, and how he's been such a blessing in my life, and all the things that have happened, and all the doors that have opened, and all the opportunities that I've had. And really, ultimately, it really stems back to me being willing to pay the cost. And it wasn't about investing in him or investing in his program. It was me investing in myself. Which is what it all boils down to, man. And so, Louis, I know the thing about you, man. You don't just talk the talk, man, but you walk the walk. You live it. This is what you breathe, and the results speak for themselves, man. Your story is such an inspiration, and what you stand for is such an inspiration, and you're definitely one of those people that there's no such thing as excuses, man. You absolutely just figure it out. And normally people who make a bunch of excuses can't even be around you too long, because you'll probably get on their nerves because they'll realize, like, man, this guy's the real deal. I can't be, making up excuses around this guy. He's gonna call me out, And so good, always good, man, to hear from you, Lewis. And so, like always, man, I want to thank everybody for being part of Thursday Night Show for Your Life Motivational Live Stream. We'll remind you too, you can catch up on many of our past messages by going to YouTube. You can find the YouTube channel, and also be part of our Facebook group. And of course, you can find us same time, same place next week. Lewis, thank you so much, brother, for what you do each and every week. I'm going to go ahead and chime off for the people who are tuning in on the live stream, and I'll let you go ahead and close them out on the conference call line, my friend. Thank you so much.
Well, awesome. I appreciate you as well, Andy, and for callers that listen to.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being part of Thursday Night Show for Your Life Motivational Movement. You can find us same time, same place next week. God bless you. Bye.